Do, do, dun, 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 dun. Iron Man 2. Oh my god, I was so looking forward to this movie for the past frickin' year, YouTube. Okay, I'm going to start out by saying that I adored the first Iron Man. I didn't say it was a perfect film, but it was easily 4.5 stars, and it's probably one of the best of 2008 that year. And now we have its long-anticipated sequel, Iron Man 2! Ah! And for once, the good thing about Iron Man 2 for the UK, we finally get a film before America does. Oh, they need to do this more often. Oh, I am sick of watching YouTube reviewers all reviewing films months before I get to see it. It's so annoying. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let's get into this, what hopefully will be an amazing sequel and a review for it. Now, the plot of Iron Man 2. Now, this takes place 6 months after the first movie, and it basically follows Tony Stark and his encountering problems with, you know, the government trying to, the United States of American government trying to persuade him to hand over the Iron Man technology to America, but still refusing it because he's afraid that the technology will fall into the wrong hands. And speaking of the wrong hands, he encounters Sam Rockwell, who plays Justin Hammer, and Whiplash, played by Mickey Rourke, who team up together to try and destroy Iron Man. And basically, what happens? He's got to stop Whiplash and Justin Hammer before it's too late, and they cause chaos all around the world. And in the meantime, he's battling his own personal demons, and is also his love for Pepper Potts. So that's the plot of Iron Man 2 in a nutshell. The summary. Now let's get into the review itself, as I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be asking the same question: what did I think of Iron Man 2? And hopefully you'll be waiting for this with anticipation. You'll find out within the next 10 minutes or so, or however long this review is. Beside the point. Now, let's get right into the pros. Now, the acting is much more noticeable here than the first one. Robert Downey Jr. He owns the role of Tony Stark. I think he's a terrific actor in his prime and everything. I've seen him in the first two Iron Man, Sherlock Holmes, Tropic Thunder, which he was very good in, but I didn't like that movie at all. But you know, Iron Man 2, for me, he really delivers one of his best performances today. Particularly during the scene where he's actually this isn't a spoiler scene, by the way, because it doesn't really affect the overall story. Well, it doesn't entirely. It does motivate a plot point, but anyways, where he's basically fighting with War Machine. You know, when he's basically he's pissed, pretty much. You know, he gets drunk because he thinks this will be his last party, because he realizes that this thing that's keeping him alive is really only temporary, isn't permanent. But I liked how Robert Downey Jr. played that so well. Gwyneth Paltrow was a lot more noticeable as Pepper Potts this time around. She had a lot more screen time, and she wasn't just there for eye candy, so to speak, like she probably was in the first one. So I really admire her performance there, and we actually can pay more attention to her performance. Scarlett Johansson was brilliant as Black Widow. You know, she really, I mean, you know, I'm trying to think of something to say without it sounding so typical of me, you know. But I think with Black Widow, you could never quite tell what side she's on. She seems all innocent type, but when she becomes badass, she really does show it. Sam Rockwell was pretty good as Justin Hammer, even though I didn't think quite his character should have been in it as much as he was. Now, Mickey Rourke is really exceedingly brilliant as Whiplash. You know, I think particularly with the scenes when he's directly with Tony Stark, and the Russian accent and dialogue, brilliantly executed. You could never tell that this guy wasn't Russian. You know, and he didn't break accent once, which I was surprised to hear. Other pros about the film: the end action sequence, the finale sequence, was brilliantly and breathtakingly executed. I found that it gripped me from the start, the sequence to the end, and the ending was pretty good to it as well. Some of the comedic elements in this movie are also top-notch. They don't really fall flat on their faces like typical comedies or comedy elements would do in a movie. You know, what I really liked about Iron Man 2 was the character development it gave us. And when Tony enters these dangerous situations, it kind of shows us all that he's not immortal. He's a mortal human being, and he just relies on technology to save the world. And that's what I like about Iron Man as opposed to other superheroes like, say, Fantastic Four. You know, they're all based on superpowers. This one is based on technology, and that's why I think it's a more realistic superhero, because anyone who's really smart could do that one day. Who knows? The running time as well, despite being a little bit boring in places, which I'll get into in the cons, you know, it didn't feel too rushed, you know, and it certainly took its time telling a story, that's for sure. Now let's get overall into the pro. So actually, no, another pro. The script is brilliantly written here. How on earth they can establish the comedic elements of the first one you know, move it into this film. And I think there was a new screenwriter on board, but Jon Favreau really did a good job. And also the cinematography and direction of this movie is breathtaking as well. Special effects are really good as well. You know, but I tend to focus more on what's going on in the film itself rather than special effects. But there you go. Now let's get in. Unfortunately, I have to get into the cons. Now, Iron Man 2 is definitely not better than the first one. At best, I'd say it's on par. And the reasons are as follows. The first Iron Man had a real sense of fun. It was a sense of fun with what it was doing. And while the story is brilliantly well told, the problem with Iron Man 2 is that it doesn't have a sense of fun like his predecessor did. And in effect, there's only really 2, at best 3 action sequences in it. A racetrack sequence that happens at the beginning of the movie, near the end of the finale sequence, and the little fight I was telling you about earlier. I really think that they could have done with more of that, and I was kind of getting to the point in some scenes, particularly with Justin Hammer and Whiplash, when they were having the conferences or talks and whatnot, I kind of found myself occasionally drifting off. But to sum it up though, I still loved Iron Man 2. As weird as that sounds, I still actually love this movie, because it does have, at least I can appreciate it's not typically more of the same thing. It does keep enough roots of the first one to make it enjoyable, at least it did for me. And I know, and lots of people are going to be disappointed with Iron Man 2, there's no doubt about that. Lots of people are going to hate this movie, I think. But I fortunately still loved it, because it still had enough fun to make it fun for me. And by the way, I saw this in VIP box. I am determined to see this movie in IMAX. But the VIP is brilliant. But Iron Man 2 itself, I still think is a fantastic movie. It's on par with the original. It's definitely not better like I was hoping it was going to be. It could have been a bit more epic, a bit more fun, and a bit more action. But nonetheless, I still loved Iron Man 2. So I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. Well, this could be a half. Who knows? I can't do that. Anyways, 4.5 stars out of 5. I think it's as good as the original. And for Wetboy40, a little end message for you. I know I haven't got my Spider-Man 3 review up yet, but I've been really busy with college work and etc. I haven't had the time to do as many reviews. I've still got a lot of videos to make, you know, but hopefully in my spare time I'll get to do that. So anyway, 4.5 stars for Iron Man 2. And again, I'm proud to own the original on DVD, and I will get Iron Man 2 when it comes out, and I'm going to try and see it again in IMAX. So until next time, YouTube, Michael Bowers signing out, and I sincerely hope there's an Iron Man 3. Can't wait!